Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined for the moment by Dan Beebe. We're going to have Tony momentarily and Dan O'Shea as well. We got ourselves a big show tonight. Doing something we've never done before. We'll get to that in just a moment. We're going to talk Big Ten. We're going to talk AFC North. We're going to let the cat out of the bag now. That big thing we're doing is a fantasy football draft. Not just any fantasy football draft. It's college football.
Insane.
First time I've ever done a college fantasy football draft. I had never heard of anything. I had talked about making one back in the day, but I'd never heard of an official college fantasy football draft. Have you?
No. About time, though, they've set one up.
About damn time. But before we can get into all of that, we got to do our pigskin poetry. So without further ado, this new helmet rule really, really blows. You can't hit them high. Your head can't go low. What is a defender supposed to do? Push them out of bounds or let them run by you? But don't grab their shirts. Horse collar is a flag. Excuse me. I guess now you go for the pick or watch the receiver brag. It has gotten out of hand and it is killing the game. With flags on every play, it just won't be the same. Now let's hope this ends and isn't an epidemic, because watching these games has almost made me sick. Now it's roughing the passer to use your body weight. These referees must be high or invertebrates. So clearly now we wait for the XFL, where we watch players get destroyed and laugh our way to hell.
Just about.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, a gift in itself, XFL.
Yeah. So I now realize that epidemic and sick don't really rhyme that well.
I was going to call you on it, but I figured I'd let you finish first.
I was hoping I could push it in a way that it did sound like we know what we're doing when it comes to rhyming, but apparently I don't.
Sometimes you just got to go out in that, divergent, off on the limb there and just say what you mean.
Yeah, and we're getting other feedback that that they do not rhyme. Thank you. I understand that, but you know what? Sometimes you got to use your poetic license and just do what you got to do. But since it's just the two of us for the moment, what do you say we talk a little WWE?
Do you want? Absolutely.
SummerSlam was this weekend.
Crazy.
NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 was this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, so NXT TakeOver, Tommaso Ciampa still the champ.
I mean...
Crazy.
Yeah, it's never sold short with NXT.
No, they put on quite a show. I didn't get to watch NXT. This is the first time I've missed a TakeOver Brooklyn. But just going through the headlines and watching some highlights, Tommaso Ciampa is just insane. So badass. And then you get to the main show, SummerSlam. All right. You had 4 different titles change hands. You had 2 title matches end in a disqualification. You had a threat of a cash-in of Money in the Bank that never happened. So let's start first with what I believe, in my opinion, was the best part about SummerSlam, and that is Seth Rollins defeating Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really surprised by that. It was only a matter of time, I thought, before, I really don't understand Ziggler's appeal at this point. I think he's just kind of run his course, and, it was kind of good, I guess, putting him with, a character like Drew McIntyre really, I guess in a way it could really kind of boost his...
Yeah, it seems like it's strictly to boost McIntyre and does nothing to help Dolph at all.
No. if anything, he's really, he had his time on top, and, kind of like, how you saw, like, with the Chris Jericho role in the locker room, with
Right.
Kevin Owens. Very similar to that, and, being you got to usher in that next era, you got Seth Rollins right where he needs to be, so, and he's by far the fan favorite,
I don't know.
Now that you have,
Ambrose coming back.
well, he's back, but something greater. What do we got now?
Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta.
Shield
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
Release the Hounds.
I had a couple of strange theories that I really liked that I wish kind of happened. The first one being that Roman defeats Brock,
Yeah.
and the other two, Seth and Dean, come out, we think, to congratulate Roman, and Braun comes out with the threat of the Money in the Bank, and he's, Roman's got Dean and Seth there with him, and then they just push him to Braun. Braun wins the title. They align under Paul Heyman.
Yeah, that could have been.
I thought that could have been fun. I think something else that could have been fun would have really made all the fans there lose their goddamn minds. Just before SummerSlam, the very first thing that happens, Shane and Stephanie McMahon should have come out and said that they feel that there's been a little bit of stagnation in WWE and they want to see something different. The fans want something different. So they made an executive decision, made a trade, if you will. Roman Reigns for Samoa Joe. So now you've got Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. You've got Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. People are sick of Brock and Roman. That's how you fix that. Roman's now on SmackDown.
I'd be interested in seeing the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar rematch too.
Now that you actually get to see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're welcoming in Tony. Tony, how you doing tonight?
Oh, it was good until I walked into that conversation.
Listen, you didn't watch SummerSlam?
No, I didn't.
Well, you missed out because
I don't think I did.
Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar. The 3-year itch has finally been scratched. Ronda Rousey wins her first women's championship.
So all of this was written and played out on TV for your surprise and amusement.
Do you like any TV shows?
I do, because I know that they're TV shows. They don't try and proposition themselves as sports.
No, they try and proposition themselves as real, though.
I don't watch reality television, if that's what you're talking about. You want to know why? Because there's something called a reality TV show writer. When you're writing for a reality TV show, it stops being reality.
That's a good point.
It's like confusing facts with nonsense.
But the point I'm trying to make is...
If you're entertained by your male soap opera, then who am I to judge you?
Exactly. No.
But, that being said, I'm not going to disillusion myself to the idea that this is sport when there's a predetermined outcome.
Whoa. I mean, you watch the NFL. The referees have that predetermined outcome with the Patriots. So.
Well, that's insider trading, and it's wrong.
That's insider trading, and it is wrong. But the argument I make is that regardless of if it is scripted or not, every movie you've ever watched, every TV show you have ever watched is scripted. So to say that WWE is lesser entertainment because it's scripted, when...
I'm not saying
No, not you. This is not my I can't rant. You can sit here and say you don't think it's sports, whatever, but to look down on it as lesser entertainment than, especially something like the goddamn Jersey Shore, my God.
If you want to position it as entertainment, that's fine. But if you want to give the argument that it's sport, that's nonsense.
How is
sport
it nonsense?
is there's a competition that is determined by that competition of individuals. Greco-Roman wrestling is a sport.
How about horse racing?
It's a sport for the horses.
What about the jockeys?
They're just riding on for dear life.
Let me ask you a question. Is swimming a sport when you're going up against Katie Ledecky? Because that's a predetermined outcome.
It's still a competition. Just because you're not better than her doesn't mean you weren't competing.
That is a predetermined outcome.
You're right, but there's still people trying. There's one person that before that lights and their song comes on knows they're going to lose.
Yes, the Cleveland Browns.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Except for they just knew that because of how bad they were. Not because they were told. I mean, I'm sure they were told by their fans, you're going to lose. And you're like, yeah, you're right.
Not this year, though. I think they turn a new leaf.
They
They
certainly don't have an excuse.
They have so much more talent this year than they have in pretty much any year past. All right, so the other championship that changed hands at SummerSlam, and we'll move on, is Charlotte, even though she's only been in the company or been on the main roster for, 2 years now? Mm-hmm. Is on her 7th title reign. She's going to surpass her father by 63 by the time she is done. And it is ridiculous.
That's a predetermined outcome. Then it won't happen.
Again, she's got the name Flair. That sells.
Yeah. But,
it's marketing.
Yeah, but just a month ago she was on the operating table because her boob exploded.
That sounds like a personal issue.
It was a little bit longer than a month ago, but...
That certainly doesn't happen in the NFL.
It happens in MMA.
Boobs explode?
Yeah, there was one woman who couldn't compete in an event in Rochester because she had fake breasts in New York. So it was like, no. Nope, your boob's going to get punched. It's going to blow up.
I mean, that's kind of on you. You made that choice.
I mean, any other state, she was fine.
Well, obviously, New York's not going to take that liability.
Anyways, are we ready to talk about what we're actually here for?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Okay. So the AFC North, as we were just saying, is not going to be anywhere near as bad, hopefully, as we think they are. And that is because a couple teams have gotten significantly better. One of those being the Browns. But because we're doing this alphabetically, we're going to start with the Bengals. So, questions I have about the Cincinnati Bengals, and feel free to answer these questions. Is Andy Dalton finally becoming the quarterback that he should be?
Absolutely, got the Bills to the playoffs.
Is defense going to be able to keep them in games? Is Joe Mixon able to be the number one running back in Cincinnati? Is there a reason to be optimistic in the absolute shithole that is Cincinnati?
No, yes, and maybe.
So no to Andy Dalton. No, the defense isn't going to be better. Yes to Joe Mixon. And maybe there's a reason to be optimistic for a playoff run.
No. Optimistic for the future. You didn't specify.
I apologize. You're right. I did not. I kind of tried to catch you in a trap, I guess, or something.
Optimistic about the future? Yes. About this season? Maybe not wear your Cincinnati gear.
All right. Anyone going to get a Harambe jersey?
I wasn't planning on it. But now that you're bringing it up, that would be funny.
Regardless, the Bills will retire his number.
Yeah. Yeah, Andy Dalton. Yeah, he'll get his number retired for the Bills.
Yeah, that's
exactly
fitting.
So
he broke our playoff drought.
Yes. All hail the Red Rocket.
It's like Citi Field, home of the 2015 Kansas City Royal World Champions.
Exactly. So I think Andy Dalton will not become the quarterback he should be. I think that the defense will keep them in games. I think Joe Mixon will not be the answer at running back. And I do not think that they are in any position to be optimistic for a playoff run.
Seem like 5-6 wins tops. Maybe 4.
7 and 9 at best.
At best. All right.
At best.
Yeah, I want to see them get to 500.
Yeah. So that leaves us next with the Cleveland Browns.
Josh Gordon coming back, right?
Yep. So the biggest headlines / questions: Tyrod Taylor versus Baker Mayfield. The Browns passing on Des Bryant. Josh Gordon returns. Can they win more than one game? And will that offensive line be okay without Joe Thomas?
If they can't scratch out